It's the Al Travis Show, and lucky to have our next guest on. He is, of course, the voice for sports in West Central Minnesota. He's Todd Bergeth. Todd, how are you doing today, my friend?
Good, Al. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on. There is so much to talk about, and I want to get to the Vikings. I do, but as much as we can fix them with brilliant radio conversation, I think there's other bigger things to fry, and I hope to throw this. I don't try to catch you here. But obviously, you've heard about the sports betting scandal from the Cleveland Indians, right? The Guardians.
Yes.
Two pitchers, one a Hall of Famer, if you ask me. This reliever, Classy or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Future Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Potentially. Yeah.
Did you know? And this will give me a check. I didn't know you could bet on any particular pitch being a ball or strike. This is new to me.
Me as well. There was a time in my life when I did engage in some sports wagering. I haven't for quite a while, but I still do kind of pay attention. I didn't know what prop bets were and things like that, but like you, I was in the dark in terms of the fact that you could bet on a pitch, and not only bet on a single pitch, but bet on it in advance, not as any part of a live wagering. So, yeah, curiosities abound in all of this. Why would a man making several $1 million a year do something like that for a few $1,000? It's bizarre, that entire story.
Well, see, and then you go to Chauncey Billups a week before with the NBA when they did this with those NBA guys who supposedly one guy was shaving his over and under, whatever his over and under was. He got hurt, quotes,
faked
hurt,
injury.
Pulled himself out, then he gets the under. Yep. Chauncey Billups evidently, how much money he's got? He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a coach. He's a player for 20 years. And he's scamming old men out of card money?
It's hard to explain, isn't it? You would think when somebody made the amount that Chauncey Billups over the course of his professional basketball career had to be $100 million or in the neighborhood. I haven't really heard a specific number. Maybe not quite that much. He wasn't one of the superstars necessarily of the league, but he was a world champion.
Yep.
I don't know. It could be the thrill of it as well. I think there's certainly a psychological aspect to this, that they enjoy getting away with something. They probably are taking guys who have tons of money and aren't going to miss the fact that they just were robbed for $400,000 in a poker game. They're just going to go back and, to their bank and get more. So they probably feel like it might be quote unquote victimless in some way. It's really hard to guess what their motivation.
But when you've made $100 million in your lifetime, $400,000 is monopoly money.
I know.
And you risk this amount of time in jail.
You would think, but not everybody is as economically educated as you may be, Al. No. I think if you have so much money that it doesn't seem to matter. You don't know what your bills are anymore because someone handles that for you. It can be easy for money to get away, even lots of money.
Oh, I just think you're cutting too much slack. It's not like they're playing 3-card Monte in a corner in New York to try to get $5 so they can buy a meal.
No, they were in bed with the mob.
Yeah.
This is mafia run. I don't know. All I can figure is Chauncey spent his money. He got into trouble with the wrong people. The wrong people said, you do this, or we're going to start exposing what you've been doing, or we're going to hurt your family or friends.
Okay.
Hopefully some of that comes out, when the trial happens.
Well, and we'll get there. Now this stuff with the baseball, and this is where, in my opinion, these leagues are going to have to grab this by the horns right away. Baseball comes out today and says what they're going to do with this bad betting thing is cap these prop bets on single issue items like a ball at $200. And they can't be a part of your parlay. Okay. Is that the answer to what these things are, that you can cheat? That seems like that is not the answer.
No, that's just doing nothing, basically. Yeah. I don't know. For years, professional sports in America were able to hold off the gambling interests. But when the courts finally ruled that gambling should be legal and then the floodgates opened, well, then all of the pro sports just embraced it with both arms because there was so much money that came into them right away. Wow. So all they're doing is protecting their gambling partners as best they can. The thing to do is you should not allow players to wager on any sort of sports. You aren't going to get rid of sports gambling now. It's not in Minnesota. We don't have it here because they haven't passed any legislation for it. But, you living especially down near the Iowa border, you got a half-hour drive to
8 minutes.
If you want to make a sports bet, there you go. It's not too far away. So you're not going to get rid of that. But what you need to do is have a lot stricter controls over your players and your coaches. The crazy thing to me is you have LeBron James pitching gambling websites.
Yeah.
LeBron James is on TV pitching gambling websites.
Oh.
Well, so they've really gone overboard, and it happened quick. The boomerang on pro sports embracing gambling went from zero tolerance to 100%. Let's jump in a big pool of money with our gambling partners, and now they'll cover up as much as they can, as we saw. They covered up the NBA gambling scandal last year.
Can you see this as the demise of these sports? A friend on the show, I think it was Spinney earlier today, said a way out of this is in these prop bets, you can't ever vote the under. They got rid of prop bets and said it's going to the under is, you can bet on the under. That would eliminate guys from being able to say, hey, I'm going to drop out of the game. I got to make my over. Whatever the pros said is going to be my over, I have to make that. I think there's something to that. You could see that dropping out, because here's how it ruins the game, sir. For me, and I would never have said this, and I don't really believe it happened, but we had 8 false start penalties on the Minnesota Vikings this last weekend, right?
Crazy, yeah.
You call it crazy. The most in 20-something years of any team ever at a home event. Is there any chance that's something you could have bet on?
And I don't know.
I don't. But now I'm thinking that
There's a way
way.
you can look that up. There's a way to look it up.
Well, I would have no idea. I'm not that guy. But my point is, I would never have thought that. I would have been completely disappointed in my team, yada, yada. Now I'm thinking, well, what if the over-under was 6? Because that, no one's ever going to get 6. And they just went for it.
Yeah. I think that example is a little ridiculous, actually. But and on the over/under thing, we're not allowed to bet the under. Well, then you don't have a bet. I mean, if you only bet the over, there's no bet there. There has to be a line somewhere where you can bet one side or the other. So that doesn't work. You can't do that part of it.
And you understand gambling more than me, but it's like me. About the only gambling I could see that would work is if you picked a team to win and or lose. None of the rest of this little stuff. And then
they call that sides.
Okay.
They call that betting with sides.
Okay, so betting with sides, and I get Minnesota plus 3.5 because they should lose the game by 3. So you take that bet. I can see that because it's harder to fix that.
Yeah.
When you say Al's going to, here's my problem with the college game. This is going to get to the college game.
It already is.
Well,
it's already been guys suspended for doing very similar things. It's already in college, yep.
If you can bet on a particular shot, some kid takes a bet on himself. I'm taking the bet, I will do an air ball my first shot of the game. Mm-hmm. He does it, and everyone's like, what's going on? Then he has a great game. Everybody's lauding him. He's the greatest player of all time. That one shot when he said he'd take it and miss completely, he makes $100K. How do you blame a kid if these millionaires are doing it?
Banning prop bets is the best way to do it.
Yes.
Outright ban all what they call prop bets. They're proposition bets, which is the individualized betting on player performance and things like that. The over-under on yards or innings pitched or ball or strike.
Yep.
Ban all prop betting in the United States and just be allowed to bet the sides, because the athletes even still won't be wanting to throw an entire game. They know how hard that would be. It's much more difficult to do. But that isn't going to happen, because all of the gambling companies make billions of dollars a year with their NFL, MLB, and NBA partners. So, yes, ban all prop bets. That's what they should do. That isn't going to happen.
It isn't going to happen. I appreciate it. Hey, we've got to go to break here real quick, my friend. Todd Bergeth taking a look at sports this morning on the Al Travis Show. I appreciate him being here. Always a pleasure. We'll talk your Minnesota Vikings right after this. I've got him, Todd Bergeth, on the Al Travis Show, talking all things sports. Todd, I got really mad. The Viking game was bad enough, okay? We lose 27-19. Yeah. I could not handle the coach coming out saying, with all we did wrong, we still had a shot to win it at the end. We had the ball, 85 yards, no timeout. Like, somehow I should accept that that's what we did. You take the 102 yards worth of penalties out, we're winning this ball game. Yeah. You take the turnovers out, we're winning this ball game. I have to accept, well, at least we had a shot. It's tough in the NFL. Was that the right answer? And I like KOC. That was not the right answer.
I agree. He's reaching at straws. He's trying to cover. So coach's fallback position is when we play really bad, I have to find the silver lining and the positive so the team doesn't get too low. When we play really good, I have to find things to criticize them for and coach them up on because we don't want to get too high. So that's him just using coach speak to kind of explain his position. It's the first time that I can say after watching a Vikings game that they were poorly coached for that particular game. KOC is a terrific coach. You hear it all around the league, national media saying what a great coach he is. And I agree, but they were not well coached for this last week's game.
Why'd they give up on the run game? You look at the numbers, 5 for one guy, 6 for the other. We're running whenever we want, and we just stopped.
Stopped running. I have no idea. That's a great question. Hopefully he gets asked that. I think he was asked that, and he brought up something about, well, we went to game flow and blah, blah, blah. They were ahead 7-0. They had the game flow in their favor.
Yeah.
See, I really thought what they would do with J.J. McCarthy and why I have been a backer and an optimist about this is I thought they were going to coach him. Jim Harbaugh gave them the blueprint of how to handle J.J. McCarthy, at least for a while. Training wheel, run the football, play good defense. Don't throw the ball on 3rd down and 1 all the time. Hammer the ball in there with Jordan Mason, who you hired, a big left guard that you drafted on the 1st round, a big right guard that you just spent millions of dollars to bring in and play, and 2 Pro Bowl tackles, and run the football on 3rd and 1. Plus, that helps your offensive line as well because then they can establish dominance, and then it's easier for them to pass protect. If they're knocking the defensive line back with the run game consistently, it's easier to pass protect. And I have no idea why he abandoned the run. It was working right away. Yeah. Aaron Jones is looking like Aaron Jones the fourth, let alone Aaron Jones Sr.
Yeah, no kidding. And then you look at the defense. I'm going to tell you, I thought the defense played relatively well. You take the points away that they got on turnovers, we win this ball game. They literally gave it up. I got to get one more sport out of you because before I let you go, are you anywhere near giving a crap about the Emirates Cup?
You'd have to explain to me what it is.
Well,
it's the NBA. Is that what you're talking about? The NBA is
when they play the inter-year tournament, and you got to win your section to go to the tournament to get 2 or 3 extra ball games in the middle of the year that don't count for stats. Because I'm reading this thing, we whipped up on Utah by 40 points, and some guys going, "Oh, this is the best thing for Minnesota because now they're number 1 in the European Emirates Cup thing in their division because it's points over the other guy." I'm like, Utah stinks. Might be the worst team in basketball. We beat them, and somehow this makes me want to be happy about when they paint the floor these weird colors. I can't stand it, my friend. Maybe I'm too old for this.
I think I must be a bigger fan than you, obviously, because I kind of enjoy it. Look,
you do.
The NBA is a long season. I didn't get all caught up in the point differential thing.
Oh.
The reason that Timberwolves, some of the guys who post or whatever or write about it or talk about it might be talking point differential. Is that what's kept them out of the last playoffs for that? Last year was they lost on point differential, so that's probably why they're talking about it. But I enjoy that there's a competition within. I think it does raise the level of play a little bit for those games. We discussed last week, it's a long season. It's too long. The best thing for the NBA was if they trimmed back to 60 from 82 games. Again, they're never going to do that. It would cost them too much money. So how do you get fans engaged in these November and December games when nobody's watching the NBA? They're all still watching the NFL. Yeah. Well, one way is to try and build interest in something else. So I give them credit for trying. And honestly, when the Wolves played for the Cup 2 years ago, they wound up losing that game. I loved it. I watched every minute. And that championship game is the only one that doesn't count for the standings. All of the other games do count against their NBA regular season.
Back to that, I'd like it if you're going to do the golf where they have the FedEx Cup and you get your points all the way, and at the end there's this massive tournament with $20-30 million, something that even these guys' heads turn on. Right. But I think they give them like $65,000 a guy or some $600,000 a guy. Oh, some of these guys are going to say, I make more money on prop bets.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, did I bring it all around? That was wrong.
Yeah, very nice. Yes, full circle we go. That's right.
That's on me. I apologize. I'm just saying I don't get behind it, and I really don't like the floors. And I asked, and I found out they literally do change the flooring. These guys play on the same sort of hard court, roughly the same, for 20 years of their career. I wonder how they feel about playing on something that's that lime green, or it's just got to take you out of your own game.
they asked Jaden McDaniels about that after the game, and he said, it's a little bright for me. He said, but whatever, that's what we're doing. So basically he wanted to say, yeah, I hated it. But he couldn't say that. They have to be behind this. So he said, yeah, a little bright, but yeah, it's fine. So, I agree. That's too much. It's a lighted floor. They can change the advertisers in and out on it, and that's why they do that. But I'm with you. That's a little too much. I don't mind some of the new floors, but that one was hideous.
Oh, it was really hideous. All right. My friend, I'm out of time, but I appreciate you taking the time out of your week to do this for me and do it up so proud. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Al.
All right. He is Todd Bergeth. He's, of course, the voice of sports in Western Minnesota. He does this with me once a week. Thank you for that, Todd. Much more coming up. We're just getting started. A lot of great show coming up right here on the Al Travis Show.